most guys out here just have an opinion. Everyone has an opinion and everything and anything. Kwanza on X, manze. X is so loud and it's so toxic and I hate it. Sometimes it just bothers me how you get probably even some of the people who are dropping bars on X are just lazy, chilling in the crib and doing nothing with their lives. But they have the biggest impact in how, they literally shape conversations in Kenya, bana. And so one of the things that I've learned on my late thoughts is my contribution to this society of ours called Kenya. My contribution, how I'm being resourceful. I feel like the only thing, Kwanza here on SpiceFM on this show, my contribution is I don't have to speak when I'm not educated enough on a certain topic. Just because I'm a journalist, just because I have a microphone, doesn't mean I have the right to blabber about any topic, any subject, especially if I'm not educated on that topic. I'm not an expert on it. Like, do you know how much of a disservice you're doing to Kenyans just because you can say anything and everything, just because you have a bit of an audience? Yeah, especially for the podcasters out there. Man, say, you get. And it's so sad. And I feel like, listen, we're at a point where, if you're excited about content, you have certain people that you like to listen to, question their sources, man. Just don't listen to anything blindly, bana. Do your Googles. We've normalized having loud opinions before we actually understand some of the issues going down out here. Even this whole finance bill conversation, bana. May I check it, some guy, bana, ranting on his ex. No, must have been it was on TikTok. Yeah? Ranting, asking Kenya that, hey, guys, I thought you guys were going to back me up. Kwenda maandamano. I was the only one on maandamano. We have to reject this finance bill. I bet you this guy has not even read that bill. You see, the problem is this era that we're living in, yeah? Social media literally rewards confidence and not facts. It does not reward accuracy, facts, credibility. As long as you say some things and you have confidence and you have a following and you're so theatrical, guys are going to believe you. And that's so scary, especially right now when we're somehow transitioning towards this whole new, political dispensation. We're in a revolutionary phase right now. So just be very careful about what you put out there. Yeah? I think one of the most mature things that you can do, a sign of maturity to me, a sign of intellectual maturity, is when you say, I don't know enough about that. And people are going to respect you. Or you can even say, yeah, like Juzie saw some, apparently guys were trashing some two women who were here. So one woman, Kwanza, who's affiliated to ODM, and they were saying how she doesn't have her facts. But they surprise, that chick, it sounded like she was saying certain things, it sounded like, she knew her subject, and then she kept on saying how she has a first class, But can you imagine if she engaged in that conversation and said, oh, that's interesting. I didn't look at it from that angle. That's interesting. I need to brush up on my facts. Wow. People would be like, yo, damn, she's actually smart, man. Because you see, the problem is with this era is that misinformation really spreads so fast. Alafu unajua sasa, the problem is when you get invited to a platform like this one on SpiceFM, ama any podcast out there, especially a podcast that discusses issues, yeah? Watu ogopa ni kama wako uninformed. People fear coming off uninformed. You get. To me, I think there's a thin line. In fact, there's a difference between being curious, which is a good thing, and then forcing expertise. I think, to me personally, let me speak for myself, I admire somebody who is open to learning, somebody who's curious, they're excited to know about things, as opposed to somebody just blubbering with words just because they have a microphone, and then you're going to be so theatrical, shouting over here, cursing. You just look so silly, bana. And then one thing you also need to understand is that you can't fool people these days, bana. You can't fool folks. People can see through you, literally, bana. People just know, this guy is faking the funk, bana. Says him sharp. At some point, imagine people are going to figure you out. And I like that. You can come over here and talk a big game with your nice, cute voice. But guess what? I will just know you're faking the funk, banner. You have a mic. The real ones know. And by the way, another thing I love is, these days I'm so particular about certain pages and people that I follow. Let me tell you, you would rather follow people who have such minimal following, like they don't have a massive audience. Because you know what? Many a times, these people are actually the ones who speak the facts. And the masses out here don't like facts. People don't like, nuanced information. People don't like being put on blast. So you'll notice that people who have massive followings, like 1 million plus, most of the time, they're fake experts. They're going to say certain things. Like, I don't know, they figured out how to navigate this whole content spaces and, and they know how to play around with an audience. But if you're very keen, guys who have a small audience, you'll notice that they speak facts. And people are just not ready to interrogate facts. And those are my favorite people to follow these days.